What is going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, as you can see here in the background, we're actually talking about Cosmic Crucible. Now, we're going to be talking about Cosmic Crucible Season 4. We're going to be talking about what I believe is to be some of the best defensive options, but I'm also going to, for once, do a table. Now, I haven't done a table on Cosmic Crucible in a long time. Honestly, I did it in the preseason, and that was pretty well received back then. And I kind of lost interest in Crucible a little bit as the seasons went on because I felt that things were getting a little bit too prescriptive. And now with the rules coming, there's still a little bit of this in Season 4, but things are a lot better. And so I want to go through each of the rooms. I want to go through a lot of the major meta teams and where I think that they're going to fit in, depending on what you want to use for your offense and defense, and just give people a little bit more options. Now, this video is going to largely be cookie cutter teams. They're going to be the full teams. There might be some additional options here and there, but if I went to every single fill in a character here for all these standalone characters that people use, the table would get too big. So this is largely going to be a video aimed towards, I would say, the average player. Not those people up there in high diamond or masters. They maybe you can watch the video and maybe you'll get some tips, but you probably don't need my help anyways if you're doing that well. But anyways, for everyone else though, if you're ready to go, then let's boil this down. Now, I'm really happy that this got changed because it made me put a little bit of thought into the teams that I was going to use. And these are the teams that I'm going to use, but I really want to go over why, and I'll be doing that with the help of the table because I think it's really going to help kind of showcase what exactly we're looking at. So we have brand new teams. If you haven't thought about this, then now's your chance because realistically you're going to need to probably flip around the majority of your teams because the teams the rooms that they were in before is likely not to be the case now. So I'm just going to scroll through a little bit quite slowly, and this has changed dramatically in terms of what for the most part, except for this team here, the Darkhold team, which I am still using. It's honestly pretty much the same room as it was before, but the difference is that both the special and the ultimate are 2 less ability energy to use. Now you're probably wondering why I have things in a certain way, and first of all, I do want to kind of go over this. We're going to go over my rooms, and then I'm going to go over the table. So first off, pressure point, room number 1. This has benefits to characters of the Raider and Striker variety of ISO 8. Now, primarily, I would say it's for Striker characters, so well below 50% health. They gain 200% damage. It just cuts off a little bit. It's 200% damage, which means they get double damage if they're under half health. I've decided to put in the Gamma team with Red Hulk and Nova as a Striker. Now, for those of you who follow my videos, I don't have the full Nova team. I just have Nova. He's the only one built up at this time. So I'm using him standalone here. I don't know if it's going to be the best usage for him. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing is necessarily what you should be doing, but I'm giving some broad recommendations. Now, room number 2. This is really going to be really fun and really interesting, or really effing painful. The rooms count as raids. So this one, oh yeah, by the way, the global season buff just buffs new warriors. They do a little bit more, and on defense, everyone gets 20% health and 10% damage. Now, Bifrost is by far the most OP raid team of the recent new raid teams from Rebirth, Invaders, and Bifrost. Bifrost is by far going to be the craziest team in this room, and a lot of this has to do with everything that Bifrost gets, and I really need to drive this home because it's going to be really important. So I have the character kits up here on msf.gg. Specifically, it's a couple of the characters. I don't know if it's Vol necessarily, but it has to do with the passive. So first of all, Bifrost, and let's zoom in a touch. Bifrost allies gain 50% additional health, max health, and 25% damage in raids. So all of these raid passives, they're all active. And in raids once per turn, when an enemy with exposed is attacked, fill speed bar by 5% for all Bifrost allies. Honestly, this is, and to generate the ability energy to all the Bifrost allies pretty much. This is huge. So it depends on how the AI plays it out. But Vol has an insane kit. We know that. I'm not going to go through all their kits, but specifically certain things in the passive that I want to talk about. Also, not to mention, Sylvie and Loki are very likely to go first. It's absolutely crazy. And her ultimate which is going to get filled up because of being on spawn with regular Loki. So this flips taunt on all enemies, reduces speed bar by such a significant amount. It's this much plus, or sorry, it's this. So it's 15 plus 15%. So it's 75% speed bar reduction when this goes off, and she gets additional speed bar from Loki, which is going to be in his passive kit. Also, everyone else gets, if he gets around to his ultimate where he summons mirror images, then when they die, it's going to fill speed bar for the entire team as well. It's just going to be bonkers, and I want to talk about this, the passive here. We have to go down to the bottom. And so on raids, on spawn, fill a speed bar of a random Sylvie ally for 35%, and it's basically full energy. So that is crazy, that additional boost. And also he gets quite a bit of speed bar as well, 15% for himself, and for Mystic Controllers as well, which I believe is she a Mystic Controller too? Does she get additional? Yeah, she is. So she actually gets that. She gets the 10% plus 35, so she actually should get 45%, I think, here, which is a lot. And the biggest thing is why that you're not going to be, I don't think that you're going to be able to use Death Seed to counter this, is honestly this right here. It's Teen Loki's passive, where on spawn, in raids on spawn, 2 regeneration and immunity for 2 turns, and one turn of immunity for 2. Oh no, sorry, it is immunity for 2 turns to self and all Bifrost allies. So when Magneto goes first, because he's realistically going to go first, he won't be able to blind them. He will pull them all together, but he won't be able to blind them. So I am skeptical about how this battle is going to play out, and I think that Bifrost is going to be it's going to be the VIP of the season. Honestly, with everything, I didn't even talk about Beta Ray Bill, but just everything together, the Bifrost team is one of the nastiest, strongest raid teams we have had to date, and I think it's going to be absolutely insane in this. Now, for room number 3, this is a little bit pigeonholed because it's on defense and offense. Cosmic hero characters get buffs, right? Okay, so there's really 2 major teams at this point. There is Infinity Watch and Nowhere. I don't have Nowhere built, as I said before, so I am putting Infinity Watch here. You could do Heroes Guardians as well as we get into the table. Wrecking Ball, this one's a bit of a weird one sometimes. So on turn, if a character has taunt, gain offense up. On turn, all allies with offense up gain assist. We're gonna pivot to the table for that one because there's only so many characters that kind of give offense up to the entire team, and it doesn't have to give it to the entire team, but I mean that would be the best thing, where then everyone would then end up getting assists. Would be really crazy. The reason why I've done this and put Red Guardian there is because it's going to put him next to Cap, and when Cap gets hit, Winter Soldier actually gives offense up to the rest of the Rebirth team. I guess that's what I'm hoping happens, and and then we'll see about that. Mutant Spiders. Hero mutant characters count as all of the above of the tags. That could be really interesting, but also Spider-Verse characters count as Tangled Web and Web Warriors. That was in the tournament, I believe. And so I've decided to go with this hodgepodge of my badass Swarm with Doc Ock and Mr. Negative. Now, my hope is that Swarm might actually be able to do something. He's got an insane amount of hit points, my Swarm does, and Doc Ock is buffing him by 40% max health for Sinister Six allies, and he's also getting the additional Tangled Web passives that Spider Weaver and 2099 is going to give him. So there might be some potential there, and obviously Darkhold Quicksilver, this is a pretty common one that I'm using here. So I want to kind of pivot to the table now, and we're going to go through this one by one. Again, we've already gone through the kits, so I'm using a pretty simple system. I call it the check mark. It's the check mark in the meh system. It's like this team is good in that room, or it's okay. Meh doesn't mean bad, it just means it's not as good as the check mark. That's basically what it means. You could use them there, but you're not going to get as insane benefits from it. I used to have an X for red, don't do them, but I just basically dumped it down to just these 2. If it's not listed, or if there's nothing in the box, they don't get any particular benefits out of that. And I'm only using, I don't know, like the top 20, top 15 meta teams. I don't even know if it's 20, honestly, because at some point I need to cut it off. And I basically cut it off at Infinity Watch. Infinity Watch is the oldest team that still remains in the meta that people are using. Other than that, there may be some teams that you might be like, why aren't they listed? I don't have Dark Hunters in here. I don't have Heroes for Hire in here, because realistically, you're not using them as a full team. They're not really that good in Cosmic Crucible, and so I had to cut it off somewhere. So I know I'm going to get some comments down below about people wanting to add, and maybe I will add some teams, and I'll update this as new teams come out. For example, Secret Defenders are not listed on here because it's going to be about a month until the rest of the team goes out. Whether or not Photon's actually good in Crucible with A-Force, I don't know. Haven't really had time to experiment with that, so I can't say. If they are, let me know, and I will add this at a later point. But these are the rooms here. We already talked about what they do. But this will be posted on my Discord as well in the Boilon's Resources channel after the fact. So if you just kind of want to take a look at this, or maybe share it with your alliance, then you can do so there. So we talked about all the additional rooms, so I'm not going to go over it again here, but it is there. Multiversal Warriors, that's the name of the season, and it just buffs new warriors a little bit on both offense and defense. Now, some people might wonder, why would you use new warriors on defense? I personally wouldn't, but there are a few rooms where this might actually have some value, and we're going to take a look at some of those. So we'll start off at the top here. We have, so the way maybe I could have done this a little bit better. I don't know. I have the teams on the left, and then I have the rooms across the top, and if they get a check mark, that's good. If it's got a orange, it's okay. I've gone from teams that are newest to oldest, basically down the. So let's start with Bifrost. Obviously, we talked about that. I already gave my reasonings for this for room 2. The other ones, I mean, the reason why I would put Bifrost as your primary room for team 2 is because I don't know where else you're going to use them realistically, and I don't want to keep them on the bench. So you might as well get some value out of them. Put them here on room 2, and then that's good. That obviously does leave some bench teams so this is why, again, because I didn't put Rebirth in room 2, why I wanted to put Rebirth in room 4, because I still wanted to try to extract some value out of them. Maybe it'll make them lose a little bit of efficiency or something. It might do something, because, you know, they're a fairly high built up team for me, and I just didn't want to have them sitting on the bench do nothing, because they're not offensive teams. I wouldn't really use it for that. So that's just my opinions. Infestation, I put them up for 5 and 6. Realistically, they're not a team. My hope is for the future, though, is that because they made a raid room, that they might do a war room, and that could be really, really interesting down the line. Like I said, some of the infestation characters, like Swarm, can be usable in room 5 with Tangled Web, though, so keep that in mind. Nowhere, absolutely a room 3 Hero Cosmic team. If you're going to use them, probably use them there. Maybe you can use them on the offense. I don't have the full team assembled, so I don't know the extent of which they're good at countering other teams without their war buffs. Can they beat Gamma without the war buffs? I'm not entirely sure. If they do, let me know in the comments down below. They might be useful to save on for Cosmic Crucible offense, possibly, if they could do those kinds of things. Otherwise, you could put them on defense in room 3 and maybe on room 1. Just because if you have nowhere else to put them. And of course, 6, honestly, you could put a lot of things in 6. So, you're going to see a lot of yellows or greens for room 6. New Warriors. So one place that you could hypothetically put them on defense is room 2, which is the raid room. Now, Deathpool does give some buffs to the team, to Mystic characters particularly, which is everyone but Firestar, speed bar in raids. It's a specific raid interaction that Deathpool has with the team. Other than that, you could hypothetically put it in room 6, but they're just such a strong offensive counter to Tangled Web, and so I have a section for notes here for a lot of the teams. Pigeonhole to room 3 for Nowhere, and again, little use for this team for Infestation. But yeah, strong offensive counter to Tangled Web. I think a lot of people are going to save New Warriors for offense, and that's what I personally recommend myself. Invaders, I don't think they're a good option for room 2, personally. Because that they can easily be countered by Kestrel, which is what I put in the notes here. And Nick Fury is also used in the Walking Hate counter, which is a counter to counter Unlimited X-Men, which I will have down below after we get through this. Rebirth. Now, again, I think this is probably the second best use, honestly, of room 2. I think if you're not going to put Bifrost, or if you don't have Bifrost completed at this point, then put Rebirth in there. I think that's probably good. Captain Carter actually does have Safeguard for the team, but it's not on spawn. It is after when she uses her ultimate. So I think Rebirth is probably the second best choice, but Bifrost would be my first choice. Otherwise, you could try and use them in room 4, like I'm attempting to do, because I want to extract some value with them. Death Seed. I would keep them as an offensive choice. They could be an offensive choice for room 2. Or just an offensive choice for other rooms, honestly, because they're a very strong team. And under the control of the AI, Archangel does not use skills in the right order. He goes for the ultimate instead of the special, which is usually what you'd want to use. So that becomes a little bit of a problem there. I don't know how good they're necessarily going to be in room 2, because then you could just use Death Seed, I think, to counter Death Seed. I would imagine that that's the case, but that's just me. Wakandans, I don't have a lot of experience with using them personally, but some people in my lines that I've talked to have wanted to put them into room 4, which is where if they get offense up, they gain assists as well. And I think that maybe it's after turn 1. I don't know them specifically that well. That offense up is given to the team. Other than that, you could still put them in some of these other rooms if you like, but you're not going to get a significant amount of value, in my opinion, from that. Tangled Web, if you're not using them on the offense, then obviously it's going to be in room 5 for the defense with the characters that you so choose. That's probably just going to honestly just bait New Warriors or Masters of Evil. Honestly, I think that because there's no Eternals act a Tangled Web nonsense, that I think Masters of Evil beat them, because I believe that's what I did in the tournament as well. Otherwise, a lot of things can fit in Room 6. I'm not going to go over Room 6 specifically, but there's going to be a lot of options there. You saw my stand-ins, but obviously there you can also use Ghost Spider as well if you want, because of the whole Web Warriors interaction too. Gamma. Now, I have this for Room 1, like I am currently, because I think that Red Hulk being under 50%, getting double damage is going to be pretty insane. So strikers will get double damage if they're under 50%. And if Red Hulk is, then I could see him absolutely wiping the... Honestly, even his basic would probably hit really hard, but any of his attacks would be really powerful. So I think this is a good possible option there. And obviously Room 6 as well, having 2 less ability energy on his abilities, that I think Red Hulk would get a special almost every turn, I think, because it's on a cooldown of 3, I'm pretty sure, right? So this is going to be absolutely bonkers, potentially in Room 6. Heroes, Guardians... Just threw them there just because. Room 3 probably because they're Hero Cosmic stuff, but I wouldn't suspect that you're going to get a lot of mileage out of this team, so I'm not going to really mention it too much. Unlimited X-Men. Room number 4, because Sunfire gives offense up to the entire team, which means that assuming he lives to his second turn, that the entire team will start to get assists as a result of that. So that could be very, very strong. I don't know if all of them get offense up in any other way, but some of them might, or if you're flipping with Dazzler, for example, and that happens to flip into offense up, that could be a thing as well. There is Room 5, obviously. The Hero Mutants things, I think this is a bit of a trap, I gotta say. Hero Mutant characters counts as Axemen, Uxmen, and Uncanny X-Men. I think this is not for veterans or high-level players. I think this is actually meant more for mid-range players who maybe are sitting with a hodgepodge of different mutant characters and they want to take advantage of using them. I don't think this is something... I think it's a little bit of a bait for those of us towards the top or considering that. I don't think you're going to get a lot of value personally out of, say, mixing Unlimited X-Men and Jubilee and Beast, which some of the people in my alliance were thinking about, because they're just so stack-crept that I think that they're going to get wrecked. And I just don't think it's a good idea to drop that many characters from your Unlimited X-Men to consider the likes of Beast and Jubilee. But that's just my opinion on that one there. So I am keeping Unlimited X-Men, I think, on the offense, right? Yeah, I didn't actually... Yeah, I'm not using them on the defense. But if you were going to use them on the defense, I think you would probably want to consider Room 4. Darkhold seems to be still the popular choice, or a variant of Darkhold for Room 6. Whether it's Quicksilver, Apocalypse, or whatever, Room 6 seems to be the common place to put them there. Young Avengers kind of losing their grip a little bit, honestly. I don't know where you'd want to put them. Maybe Room 1 because of the striker interactions. Pretty much everyone's a striker other than Miss Marvel to get those follow-up attacks. That's probably where you would want to throw them if you don't have anywhere else to use them. They're not a really good offensive choice, I don't think. And Eternals, I would also save them for offense. They are cosmic heroes, but, I don't know. I tend to save Eternals for my offense just to beat other teams that I come up against. But that's just me. And Infinity Watch, obviously, is going to be the team of choice outside of Nowhere for Room number 3, but also Room number 1. Because, once again, everyone is a striker other than Nebula, pretty much. And so you're going to have the potential of having them double damage if they do land under 50%. And they're quite defensive as well. So there's a good chance that you might be able to be... oh, my God. You might be able to extract some additional value out of them if they get injured. So again, strong choice for Room 3, but also a good choice for Room 1 as well. Now again, I could have included lots of other teams in here, but I just felt these ones had the most value and most relevance right now. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you feel there's teams that I missed out that you think should be in here, and maybe I'll include them in the next update when I do this again, probably maybe in a patch or so. I want to do this at least once a patch, probably just to keep people updated on what's going on, both in the meta, what a lot of people are using, and I think how things are changing with what I feel is going to be best. That being said, just some final tips for some strong recommended offensive choices. There's going to be a lot of these defenses are also offenses, but one specifically that you should hold for offense for the season: Masters of Evil, New Warriors, and Death Seed are my top 3 recommended offensive choices, and Walking Hate, which is a combination of Dormammu, Nick Fury, Kestrel, Shang-Chi, and Cap Sam, largely designed to counter Unlimited X-Men. Now, there's obviously much more offensive choices, and you need more than 4, but these are the ones I absolutely would hold on to make sure that they're not anywhere on your defense so that you can use them for offense. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. This one was a little bit longer. Let me know what you think about these teams, the rooms. Are you looking forward to and you excited for Season 4 coming on Monday? I am, for once. I'll probably do some videos on it, and I'm most interested, actually, in fighting Bifrost, because I think this is going to be sheer insanity. I think this is probably going to be the #1 team to beat. You know how like Tangled Web Eternals were the team to beat before New Warriors were out? I think it's going to be Bifrost actually come Monday. We'll see how many people. I think a lot of people are going to probably put Bifrost, especially after I just said that you should do it. And I think it's going to be crazy. I don't have time to really build them up too much more before Monday because I am doing other things right now. But yeah, this is going to be absolute craziness, and we'll see during the week. So that's it, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.